Okay, guys, again, we're day 4, DJX 2024. And we've had the opportunity to talk with some great people, but once again, we have another great.
Yes.
We're here with Chris. Chris is a DJ with EV, and he works with
SCE.
SCE, and we'll find out all of those good things, what that is, what it consists of, and so forth. How you doing today, brother?
Pleasure to be on two DJs, one mic and a mic. Looking forward to hearing about your story, about everything you guys have to offer, and can't wait to get to know you guys better.
Oh my!
I like that
God.
spin. I'm gonna use
a
that.
mic and a mic.
Yes,
Okay.
two DJs, one mic.
I was
and a
thinking
mic.
of the Nas song. All I need
I
is
feel
one
like we're
mic.
about to build the Shay Shay Club. Oh my goodness!
Yes.
So we'll just get into it. Tell us a little bit about you, how long you've been in the industry, how you got started, and all those.
Sure. So I've been a DJ for about 25 years, although I hate to admit that.
No, that's
Kind
a
of
good
showcases
thing,
my
man.
age. But yeah, I got in strictly for money, to be honest with you. I think a lot of DJs kind of come in for the glory of being a DJ. A lot of DJs come in for music. I was working at a bowling alley, and they had the Saturday night, cosmic bowling, where they needed someone to play some music. And I happened to have the personality, the outgoingness to be the guy on the microphone to do it. So they were like, hey, do you want to DJ for us on Saturday nights? And me being all of 19, I was like, there is no way I want to be here every single Saturday night working. At the time, I was making like $6 an hour. And they're like, I'll tell you what, if you come here
Criminal.
for the 4 hours, we're going to pay you $20 an hour. I'm like, Mom, I'm rich. I made it. So 100%, it wasn't about the music. It wasn't about like the aura of being a DJ. It was 100% a
About the
financial
money.
decision
Yeah.
for me to become a DJ.
Wow.
At the time, I was heavy into theater. I was going to college for theater, and I was all about being on stage. And through this job and becoming a DJ for the first time, it really showcased to me a different lifestyle of being an entertainer, and it turned out being my true love. So I was grateful for that
Hey,
bowling
you know
alley
what?
job.
You are honest, because most people are like, "Oh, I love the music.
Yeah.
I want to entertain people." No, God, dog it. I did it for the
Yeah.
money.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I like to
No,
keep
no,
honest,
no,
and
no, that's good. 'Cause-
it's interesting, I guess.
but has it changed over the years?
Oh, of course. I mean, I think I've had a lot of different changes within my career, So I think my greatest change was also working with different companies, I had a chance to see different leadership styles, some that were not so positive and some that were really amazing. And to see, like, now be in a place where...
Okay, so give me one example of something that wasn't good, that you didn't like, or you didn't like the leadership style.
Just being honest with clients, no matter what, whether you're right, you're wrong. I think having honesty with your clients and saying, hey, we messed this up and how do we make this right? That's something that Jay and I have seen him do, even when it comes down to my gigs where, yourself as an entertainer, your client, you might not see the same way how an event goes. Jason will be like, hey, like, we didn't do this right. How can we make this better? As opposed to being distrustful and saying, you're wrong, and we're not going to give you any money back, and you're out of money, and that's it. So
Wow.
just being honest with couples, I think is one of the best things I've seen in business.
So as we were pre-chatting before the show in the green room, you said you've been with SCE for 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting, I guess, ride with Janai and SCE because, I came in first excited about everything, and then like 2 years later, we have a pandemic.
Oh, wow.
And then, everything starts going back up, and a couple years later, I actually suffer a stroke. So although I've been with SCE for, 7 years, there's definitely been some highs and lows within my short career at SCE. But at the same time, it's been all a blessing from not only learning from Jason, but also some of the amazing entertainers that are there at SCE. I mean, we have a stable full of guys that not only educate each other, but also uplift each other. So I love it.
I'm sure y'all heavily challenge each other, and there's friendly competition.
Yeah, you said, is there further competition?
I said friendly.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Probably not as much friendly competition as I would like. Like someone like Demand. I mean, Demand is just such Jason Demand Cohen. If you guys know him, he is an alien when it comes down to like turntablism. Like he is just such an amazing human being.
That's
And I'm
another
like,
member on y'all team?
yeah, Jason Demand Cohen, yes, and he is the whitest Jewish kid that you know. But meanwhile, like the most technical, like crazy scratches, amazing word plays, completely not a book that you would ever expect, you know?
Wow.
And I always want him to like further like show off more what he does because you're such a talent, you know, but he always likes to kind of like hide it. I'm like, bro, if I were you, I would be the first for the whole time at a wedding.
You gonna get it.
Yeah, I want to show you what I've worked so hard for, you know? So when you say like, is there a healthy competition? I'm like, no, Jason, I want you to showcase more, you know, stuff like that. So Nick Spinelli, another huge talent that we have, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have so many beasts, and there's people that you don't even hear about. You know, Christian Lagateria. You know, he is an amazing entertainer that had a rock career before, now budding rock career when he was a teenager, but still, like he had a band that made it, and he was going against the Jonas Brothers as bands at the time, you know, when Jonas Brothers were young, you know. So eventually he became a DJ and became an amazing father. But like being able to have talents like that is just to learn from. Tony T, a voiceover career. I don't know if you ever heard of Tony T, but I mean, we have so much talent.
I hate to admit this, but I probably read every bio at y'all company because you see someone doing it the right way, and you say, okay, I want to model my company after that, and I kind of pretty much know all y'all. I have read about y'all in some aspect because I go and look when I want to make changes to my website. What has Jason incorporated into? Because I know he's always revisiting, editing, changing, and some of his talks at Mobile Beat back in the past, he would talk about every year I sit down with somebody, go through everything. Because y'all were doing one thing, and then I went back and looked, oh, they took that off, they stopped doing it. So, I mean, I kind of know a few of y'all.
Dope,
Talk to people that come. And Jason's always cool. He's kind of like Mel Star was. Comes to these conferences, all the superstardom or whatever, you know, DJing for the Philadelphia Super Bowl party and all that stuff. It doesn't matter because he's just the coolest guy and he's really down to earth and nice.
He is the most humble, and it's a shame that he gets sometimes a bad look, you know, because not only through business has Jason greatly helped me, but just personally as being a human being and having someone to talk to when I have questions or when I'm down in life. Like I'll talk to Janai about the issues that I'm going through and that I'm facing, and he'll come with not only honesty but integrity and, hey, like we can work on this, we can make this better, and these are the steps that maybe you should think about taking to improve your own life without DJing, without anything. I'm talking about me personally as a human being, which I greatly appreciate him. You know, he is a extremely dedicated father. I think that's like his number one goal. You know, when you see him with his children, working with his children and trying to make sure, like right now he has a son, Justin, who is like a beast of a wrestler growing, and Jason was also like a wrestler. So seeing that combination of trying to give your son like everything that you didn't have and trying to give him the education and the push, you know. Janai just had me, you know, go to one of his son's wrestling practices to record it so that way we can make a promo video. You know, trying to do those small things to be able to impact your son is just like, that is the best thing I see him do as a human being. And then he's a beast of a DJ. He makes more content than the rest of us. But meanwhile, he's running the company. Meanwhile, he has his kids. I mean, I have so much respect and admiration for Jason Janai. It's unreal, you know, and just seeing him every day is just, it's cool.
Yeah, and that's great. You touched on the fact that you had a stroke. So let's talk about that. What happened? Because, you know, I had the opportunity to talk with Marco, and he gave me a little bit of a backstory, and he just talked about how great of a guy you were. But,
Thank you. Yeah. It's interesting, I guess, when I think about my life, you know, pre-stroke. I definitely didn't live my life to the best or my positive, you know. Pre-stroke, you know, I can't say I was all that happy with the way that things turned out in my life. I did lose both of my parents a little bit earlier in life, you know, so I was never overly connected with my family. That has been a struggle, I guess, I've always dealt with and everything like that. So I've had so many roadblocks where I'm all by myself, no wife, no kids. And I guess going into the stroke, I never really overly wanted to be here in life. It wasn't something that I like loved. You know, just something like, just it is what it is. And if this thing ends, then it'll be a little bit easier for me. That was always my mindset kind of going forward. Having the stroke, you know, being in a world where you're just fine one day and the next day, like, what's interesting about my stroke is I didn't even realize I had the stroke when I was in the hospital. So I went to the hospital. I mean, long story short, went to one hospital. They said I'm okay, gave me pills, went home. I was like, I still don't feel good. We decided to go to a different hospital. And during that process is when I started kind of losing consciousness. So I wake up a couple days later in a hospital. I'm talking to people. I'm having conversations and I'm okay, but it's not connecting in my brain. So for 2 weeks after my stroke, I don't remember a single thing. I don't remember a person that visited. I remember absolutely nothing. So eventually one day, one of the nurses is talking and she mentions, oh, because of your stroke. And I'm, wait, what? Like,
so you didn't even know what had
it
happened.
clicked 2 weeks later. Like, my brain was turned on 2 weeks later after my stroke. And for 2 weeks, like, I could have been talking to Jesus for this whole time, and I have no idea what we spoke about.
Y'all had some conversations.
He could have gave me the key of life, and I'm like, I don't know what he said. But for 2 weeks, I have no recollection. I don't remember a person or anything. Later on, the doctors explained to me it's a way of your brain protecting itself. You know, so. And then all of a sudden, I realized, like, oh, I had the same thing that killed my mom.
So high blood pressure is what caused your stroke?
High, but yeah, they did a whole bunch of tests. They said they couldn't find the direct, you know, reason for my stroke, but they said, you know, it's attributed to high blood pressure, which, as being a black person, like I've had all my life, I knew I've had all my life, very undiagnosed.
Were you taking medication?
No, I've never been to a doctor before my stroke, you know, so I was kind of just going through life and just, you know, so go to a doctor.
Stop the presses. Stop the presses. We have to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
We have to go to the doctor. See, I'm medical, so oh my God, brother, what's wrong?
I mean, you know, it's just how we lived. You know, that's just like my parents never went to doctors.
Well,
like, you know,
that's what we were before. As a black man, I'm not going to the doctor. My father could have a tooth, just leaning out the front of his mouth, and he wouldn't go to the dentist. I got it. He'll go tie a string. But we have to take care of ourselves mentally, physically, and financially. So have you changed that now?
Oh, of course. Now, I'm connected with my doctors. You know, I go to doctors. I even got I got insurance now. You know, like I finally I got that. You know, I got dental insurance and everything. You know, so it's definitely a different world. You know, like, you know, being connected with doctors, knowing like what my blood pressure is, and having to take medication and being on top of everything. And you know, like I said, the stroke definitely more than anything else. Having a stroke gave me an opportunity to really appreciate being alive.
Yeah.
You know, every single day I wake up and I just say, like, I made it today. You know, before I do anything, I'm like, I am here, and all the problems, I get to face them. You know, I have the opportunity to make my life better, to try to improve, try to learn, try to grow, try to connect with more people. And since my stroke,
things
I've been
like
working
that
hard.
will turn it around, man.
Yeah.
And so you were blessed to not have any kind of...
I recovered unmarkably. I have, and that is a thing that really bothers me as to, why God, out of everyone, there are dads out there, there are moms out there that have suffered strokes and have issues following a stroke, and they have kids and they have heavy things. I have nothing, you know? And it challenges me every day to think of, why did God choose me to, have such a remarkable change in life, you know? Just to be able to come back from a stroke. And the craziest thing is 32 days after my stroke, I was at an Earth, Wind & Fire concert. I had concert tickets, and I was like, I'm out of the hospital. I'm going to go, you know? Yeah. Not the smartest idea. Do not go to a concert 32 days after a stroke. But, you know, my ignorance helped me out greatly. You know, I was just like, I got this. I can go. I can drive. I don't care. You know, I'm good, you know, and...
So how long has it been since you had it?
A little over 2 years now. Happened July 13th of 22. Yeah.
How long before you got back on the tables?
I mean, I let's see. July 13th it happened. I think my first wedding was September first or second. So
about 2 months.
Yeah, it was cool because my first wedding was for like my little sister. So as I mentioned, I don't really have a family. I'm not really connected to any of my family members. And there is this like Italian family that has taken me in since high school. Like there's a friend of mine that I got to know since high school, and I got to meet like obviously her little sister who was like 10 at the time, 8 or something like that, 20 years later, now she's getting married. So my first wedding back was like the closest thing I've come to like a family wedding like in my life, So it was just fate that like that was my first wedding back.
Wow.
And I got to like DJ like my
You have an incredible story.
Oh my God. It is, I don't know. And it's just starting, which is so exciting, like I really do feel that I've had the opportunity to see my life get really negative. But now I'm on that kind of path to try to make my life great and amazing and change some of the past things that I've done or wasn't most proud of. And I think getting to the moment of your life where you recognize that, like, yeah, I messed up, but that's okay. Like we all mess up. We've all done bad things. And as much as I say to my friends' kids now, like, you're only 20. Like, like you don't have to, like, you're such a baby. I recognize that people who are 65 could look at me now and say, you're only 45. Like, you're a baby, Like, I recognize that now in life, And I'm like, everything that I've messed up on, everything that I can improve, I do have the ability to improve it, and I will change it, So I'm looking forward to next year's, So, I'm going to do some big things.
There you go.
So with going through with going through what you've went through with the stroke and having this new view on life, for those that are out there that have not went through anything like this, what is something that you can tell them to prevent, being in a situation that you were in?
I think, your health. I mean, I think when it comes down to everything, I think your health is something that you have a very direct correlation with. You kind of direct, for the most part, your health, So, but the hard thing about health is it's hard to do. Talking to, I don't know if you listen to motivational podcasts, but listen to like Jocko Willink, who talks about accountability, and being able to be like, yeah, it stinks to not go eat that, bacon, egg, and cheese in the morning, because you want it. It's tasty. It's so good, but
it's not good for you.
That bacon, egg, and cheese is going to take like 1 minute off your entire life if you think about it at the end, like. So, okay, I'll take that 1 minute now, but then you do that again tomorrow. It's another minute, and like all these things add up. So you do have
Days,
to.
hours, yeah.
Yeah, you do have to really think about health first. And I think once you start going health forward, you can start working on the other blocks. Health is one of the easiest things that you can change within yourself because it's very direct towards the decisions that you make. So myself, I used to be 320 pounds, so I used to,
Wow.
I used to be a big boy, so now keep on cutting. Now, obviously through, stop, cut a little more, stop, cut, so, but I'm still on my path for greatness, so, and, looking forward. So I think health is number one thing you could do. To me, the other thing I've been really preaching or talking to people about is thinking long term. I think often so many people don't think about what do you want to do in your future. You kind of have a very short term plan of this year and next year. I've put together a plan for 10 years. Like, I know exactly where I want to be. Now, am I going to be there? I hope so, But every decision that I'm making currently now is in
Based
goal
on that plan.
with that 10-year plan. So that way I feel that I'm driving to some place as opposed to just being a passenger going along with a ride, So
Yes.
I it's one of the things I try to start preaching to other people who seem to be looking for direction. And not that I have any great direction yet. I'm still learning this whole thing called life, but at least I'm starting to put together the pieces.
Living with purpose.
Yeah, and I would say the third thing, if I'm going to cap off one last thing, would be try to find a mentor. I think I have a couple people who are, special in my life, Jason Jeni being one, but I also have a financial mentor, Ray. He's a banker in New York, and, we don't talk as often as I love, but the fact that I do have someone who I can connect with and talk to and ask him questions when it comes down to financial, and have someone there who I know is much smarter than me, much more established, but also loving. He's a loving. Like I can't have that super hardcore, like, go F yourself and just, like, that's just not my style, and I wouldn't connect with that someone. So I happen to find a mentor.
So did you have that banker friend before your stroke?
Yeah, my mentor friend, before my stroke, he actually recruited me. I'm so grateful for him. His name is Ray, and he found me, I guess, when I was kind of in the lower section of my life.
Shout out to Banker Ray.
Yeah. I mean, he found me when I was in the lower section, and he actually had a meeting with me when I was working for my past company, and like, I remember speaking to him for the first couple times. Like, I remember he took me out to a brunch, and like we're hanging a brunch, and this is when I was still pretty big and everything like that. And I remember I'm watching some girl dancing and stuff like that. Obviously, like, your eyes are kind of glossed over. You had a couple drinks and whatever. He sees me just staring at some girl, and he comes up to me. I'll never forget. He's like, "One day, that girl's be grateful to be with you, Chris." And just that's the way he thinks, like he just thinks so forward thinking, and just all those small things that he's taught me throughout life has been so influential to making me just think differently, making me think of the chance that, like, my goal in 10 years is to open up a wedding venue. Before, it was very like, when I used to think like that, I'm like, it'll be cool if that happens.
I'm just going to DJ this weekend, and what's next weekend?
Well, now it's just all DJing right now.
No, but I'm saying that's what you were thinking.
Oh, yeah.
When's the next wedding? When's the next wedding?
But now I'm like, I will. It's not going to be like, am I? It's like, I will have my own venue in 10 years. Like, I'm going to make it happen. I'm talking to the right people. I'm trying to ask the right questions, trying to figure out. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't have the money. I don't have, whatever. But this is a path that I'm on, and this is what I'm going to do no matter what. Because listening to so many people, like, I think that's a great thing. I don't know if you guys listen to motivational things. I have, like, motivational apps.
I do from time to time.
But, like, listening to so many people, they're like, I don't know how I did it. I just figured it out. Like, I put together a plan and made it happen, and that's my goal. That's what I'm going to try to do.
Yeah.
And I'll say this here, because the one thing that, one of the many things that I'm hearing from you that I think makes a lot of sense and that's important for all of us is personal development. And me and Jay, Jeff talk about this from time to time. When you're not developing yourself personally, you're dying.
Yes.
And what I hear coming out of your mouth is just that. You're constantly developing yourself. You're putting plans in place. You're living by those plans. You have someone that you can talk to keep you off the edge.
Yes.
You have someone that you can talk to that holds you accountable.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're listening and you're acting.
Yes.
And that's something that's very important for all of us. When you look at success for the most part is not an accident.
Yes.
It's doing the very things that you're talking about.
Yes, it's very direct. 100%. You have to work hard to be successful.
Yes.
Most people, it's very rare that you don't have to work hard. And, there's always like, there's a
Rich
saying,
parents.
I can't think of it. Rich parents, yes.
And
Rich parents, one, yeah.
Even with that, when those parents are gone, you have to start working or you'll lose it.
Yes. Yeah, they say like, you could be successful without hard work or something like that. There's a great saying about that. It escapes my mind, but yeah. Awesome.
Well, one thing that we want to do, we want to thank you for sitting down with us. We think that your story is a story that several people should hear. We should all hear that.
Yes.
Because you had a situation, that could have changed, or it did change your life for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But it could have changed your life for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
It could be a situation where you're not sitting here.
I think about that because every single morning I do wake up and I'm like, I made it. Every single morning from now on, and just I think going through that in the morning, it just helps me like, okay, what do I have to figure out next?
Get up, let's go.
Yeah, let's do
go.
like I get a chance, and that's
I got another chance.
I don't know how the world is anywhere else, but I say, we live in a not too bad place here, and we have the opportunities as being individuals to directly change your path today. Like you could put together things or steps to change who you are today. To make your tomorrow better. And I love that about where we're at in life.
So in closing, Give us a gem that you live by.
A gem that I live by is to laugh every day. You know, I try to find something to laugh about, be happy about every day. I love to go look at the sun. I love to smile with friends. I love to eat. I love to smoke a little weed.
Oh, he hit us with the herbals.
But, you know, things like, I mean, in all honesty, like things like that, like something that looks so negative for me is such a positive, specifically at these DJ conferences where
Yes.
I might take an edible just to be able to like calm my nerves because my mind goes at 1,000 miles per hour and I have a hard time connecting with people when my mind's always thinking about, did I say the wrong thing? Did I, you know, why am I not talking more? Why am I talking too much? Take an edible, at least it calms those things down. So.
All right. It works.
I'm gonna leave you with this in regards to that.
Yes.
You know, if we spend more time understanding each other instead of judging each other, we'll be all right.
Amen to that. Yes,
Yeah.
in everything in life.
Yes.
We'll be all right.
Yep. Yep. Amen.
Well, Mr. Chris Atwood, we thank you for sitting down with two DJs and one microphone and one and one mic.
DJ, one mic.
Yes.
All I need is one mic.
Peace.
Peace. One mic. That's all we need.